Dennis can.
Thank you, Keisha. Yeah, we've been around Europe a lot with your father. You, your mother, and Christopher Ellis. Yeah, I know Alton long before Alton even started singing, right? I remember the first time I saw Alton, this was at the Virgin Opportunity Hour. Alton was singing a song called Sentimental Reason by Sam Cooke. But because he was repeating, I love you, I love you, I love you, I was wondering, what kind of song is this? Yeah. Okay, anybody familiar with that song, you will know it. Sentimental Reason, right? And as the veterans that is here tonight, people like Lydia Coxon, Mandingo will know that Alton was a dancer before a singer. In those days when we go to Majestic Theatre, we saw the intermission. When in the intermission, Virgins would start. You have all kind of performers, but everyone that came to that show would be second to Alton's sister, Alton Ellis. She was always the star. Every Wednesday, she's the winner. Even Alton couldn't touch her. Right? She used to sing the song Down the Aisle, Till a Bell song. No one could sing that song like she, right? She wasn't a popular recording artist, but performing, she was the queen. No one could touch Alton Ellis. Then Alton teamed up with Eddie and did Mirrell. And that was the beginning of big things to come. You know, anybody is familiar with Mirrell?
Everybody.
Everybody. Yeah man, big song. Right, when Alton started solo, now working for Duke Reid, Alton became my very favorite artist. Because I was playing a song called El Paso in Jamaica. And on that song, Alton was the #1 artist. When it touched certain time of night, no other artist played apart from Alton Ellis. Right? He's got an album that he done for Studio One, with tunes like Pearl and some more songs to remember. Because you know, we're not young anymore, so we can't remember everything. Right, but Alton Ellis was always my favorite. I remember one day, I was in East London and Trinity and Dillinger came to visit, and Leroy Smart. And we were talking about favorite singers. So I said Alton Ellis was my favorite singer. And Trinity said, yeah man, Alton is my favorite singer too. Smart was drinking a beer. And because Trinity said that, he threw the beer and licked Trinity. And said, no, Ken Booth are my favorite singer. Right? Never forget that incident. But Alton Ellis was always the king. We got so much great singers in Jamaica. But I give Alton the edge. The way how we phrase his song, ad-lib, and the range that he's got, you know, it just captivates me as a music lover. Alton Ellis to the world. Blessings.
From the E. Thomas, the man Lloyd Cox. This is a man who he was playing sound system in the 1960s in this country, helping to popularize Jamaican music before reggae was invented in '68, was playing and promoting Jamaican music. He's also one of the pioneers in terms of producing lovers rock. Louisa Mark, Cartoon Alive, this is the man. This is the sound system man who used to play the first set of dub plates. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to the legendary and straight talking man who don't take back no talk. My brethren from the east, like Paul Bogle, Jamaica national hero, like the Cox. Say, Jah. That's a far right. Yeah, man. Massive respect to everyone and enough love, you know. What more can I say? Dennis Al Capone said it, Mandingo said it, the great bassman from Jamaica said it about Alton. Alton Ellis was a legend, and it gave me pleasure to play all of Alton Ellis record, you know, coming out of the basement on Sunday morning at these blues party, playing Alton Ellis, Ken Boot and everything, you know. But I have the pleasure to meet Alton in person, and what a pleasurable person Alton Ellis is, you know. A person who make you feel good. Every time I see Alton, him have a smile, you know. And I always remember that, you know. But he gave us so much memorable and good music, you know, over the years that we know him as a legend, you know. So big up Alton family and thing, you know. And we can't make Alton name go and die, you know. But Alton name will never die because the product is out there. Some of the greatest songs that keep the dance all nice, you know, and things. So blessed love to everyone, you know. And big up Alton family. And Alton, we will forever play you as long as we are playing sound system. We never stop. Rastafari.
For those who don't know about this song is a phenomenal song in Kingston, Jamaica. Mr. Tommy Lee, all the way from Japan, is going to play it on the original 45. This record is older than me, and I'm 50. This record is older than me. So here we go. Mr. Alton Ellis and Eddie singing Miriam. It's played today in Jamaica non-stop. Here we go. Tommy, play it, please.
If I had a pair of wings, over the prison walls I'd fly.
Pull up! This is a song that in Jamaica, they thought it was coming from America. When they found out that this was Jamaican boys, Jamaica went mad. Because in that time, Jamaican people were listening to the duo from America. USA was controlling the whole world in music. This song came out in Jamaica. This song they thought was American boys. And when they found out it was Jamaican boys from Trenchtown, wow! Mr. Alton Ellis when he was 17 years old.
If I had a pair of wings,
Listen!
over the prison walls I'd fly.
Recorded in 1957.
Until I find the one I love so well.
Oh, Miriam! Oh, Miriam!
And just because I love her so,
These were two Jamaican boys. They were copying the sound of America.
that is the reason
And the Jamaican people were so proud. The Jamaican people were so happy.
although I know that
They just realized that we can do exactly what the Americans do and better. Here we go, Mr. Alton. Listen.
learning loud,
What?
and it's like singing, oh, it's the song.
And today, if you go to Jamaica right now, you will hear this song play non-stop.
I love my girl,
I love my girl.
she's so sweet.
She's so sweet.
Oh, Miriam,
What?
oh, Miriam,
What?
I love the song. Just because I love her so,
Fox and John.
that is the reason why I go.
And if you know about Studio One, this is Coxon's third recording ever.
I know that because
There's a little bit of history. A little bit of history, people. Here we go. Miriam.
I'm in love.
The sound of the Jamaican people realize that the Jamaican boys can do it themselves. No more American doo-wop coming from America. We are now going to record our own American doo-wop Jamaican style. The year is now 71. This one is called Play It Cool, right, Tommy? Play it cool. So we're gonna play it cool. It's hot. It's hot. Play it cool. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Listen. Wow. Alton Ellis. Alton Ellis. Alton Ellis. Listen. Listen.
I've got love.
What?
Within my heart for you.
The Mr. Love Man himself. Listen.
I would like to live.
What?
Kisses from the start.
What do you say, Dad? What do you say?
It really makes no difference. Without the money, I know.
What?
It really makes no difference. I've got love, I know. Easy squeeze, it makes no right.
One more time, Tommy. Tommy, one more time, please, please. It's hot. I'm getting hot. And Alton is saying play it cool. This song is called Play It Cool, 1971. Hold tight to Kaylee, my wife. Hold tight to Isabella, Gabriella. Hold tight to all the Alton fans outside here today. Today we got some real Jamaican 555. We have Tommy from Japan. Tommy, pass it please. Thank you. Alton! Alton! 1971. Alton! Hitbomb!
Hitbomb.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. What do you say, Alton?
I've got love.
What?
Within my heart for you.
For me? For me?
I've got to live.
Listen.
Kisses from the start.
The greatest voice of Jamaica. Listen.
It really makes no difference. Without the money, I know.
What?
It really makes no difference. I've got love, I know.
Ashaji.
Easy squeeze, it makes no right. You know it's gonna hurt you.
Let's play it cool today, people. Let's just play it cool, okay?
Easy squeeze, it makes no right. You know it's gonna hurt you.
This song was recorded from Bunny Lee. Jamaican music today. Hold tight, Isabella. What do you say? What do you say, Isabella? That's the sound of Alton. That's the sound of Alton.
I've got love for each and every one.
That's right.
Everybody knows it.
That's right.
I love you. I love you.
Right.
Easy squeeze, it makes no
People.
difference.
We're gonna play cool. The sound of Alton Ellis.
Really makes no difference.
Right.
Without the money, I know.
Right.
It really makes no difference.
Right.
I've got love, I know. I believe.
The sound of Jamaican music in the middle of Brixton today.
I've got love within my heart for you.
What?
And you.
What?
And you.
What?
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Soul of Jamaica. Mr. Soul of Jamaica.
Rock, 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 rock on time. Rock, rock, rock,
Woo!
rock on time. Rock, 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 rock on time.
And remember, people, today is an exhibition day. Today is an exhibition day. We have an exhibition of himself, Mr. Late Great Alton Ellis. Stop that! No, Tommy, no, you can't start it like that. Tommy Lee. Tommy. What are you doing? People, Mr. Alton Ellis recorded for 2 labels first. Studio One and Treasure Isle. These are the Motowns of Jamaican music. Studio One was fighting against Treasure Isle. My dad left Studio One and went to Treasure Isle. Coxon was upset with Alton because he was doing shots for Treasure Isle. This is a shot from Treasure Isle. Mr. Duke Reed, producer. Here we go. I can't stand it. I just can't stand it. Here we go. Rock, steady. Listen. Rock, steady. I can't stand it, people. I can't stand it. Listen.
Wish I could.
What?
Come to you.
What?
Wish I could.
What?
Come to you.
What's the problem?
I can't stand it.
You can't what?
I can't stand it.
Hey, tell me, I'm on the wheel.
I can't stand
I'm on the wheel up here. You have to wheel it up. You have to wheel it up. This is the original Jamaica 45. I can't stand it. The title is I can't stand it. I don't like it. Here we go. Rock steady time. Rock steady. Here we go.
Wish I could. What come to you? What wish I could? What come to you?
1968 people. Here we go.
I can't stand it.
No.
I can't stand it. What? I can't stand it.
Rock steady.
I can't stand it.
Rock steady.
Fussing and fighting all day long.
Yeah.
Tossing and turning.
Yeah.
Everything seems wrong. I can't stand it.
Mr. Alton.
I can't stand it.
He can't stand the pain and the pressure.
I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
I can't stand the pressure. Hold tight to my lovely sister. How are you? I love you so much. I ain't seen you for a long time since Daddy passed away. I love what you're doing for Daddy today. Thank you so much. Here we go. Our Daddy. Woo! Okay. We're actually waiting on some people to turn up. We're running a little bit behind time, but we're going to entertain you with some music.
Wish I could. What depend on you? What wish I could? What depend on you?
Depends on me. You can, Daddy. You can, Daddy. You can. Here we go.
I can't stand it.
I can't stand the pressure.
I can't stand it.
I can't stand the violence.
I can't stand
I
it.
can't stand the racism.
I can't stand
I
it.
can't stand the poverty.
I'm a man. What the loving soul? What the loving thing? The rocking soul.
In case you never know, people, this music is called Rock Steady. Rock Steady. My daddy can't stand it. Big up to the Brixton lights in the place.
You go there. What? And I won't stop.
What?
All I know, I'm checking out. I can't stand
Big up to Tommy all the way from Japan, one of the biggest DJs in the whole wide world. Collector, specialist in Jamaican music. Wait, Tommy. Let me introduce you to the people, because some might not know who you are. This DJ here is one of the best DJs in the whole wide world when it comes to Jamaican music. And he's never played on CD, he's never played on no repress vinyl. It's original Jamaican pressing. Some of these records you are hearing today are 50, 45, 60 years old. Original Jamaican 45, worth loads of money. Okay, back to the music. Back to Mr. Alton Ellis. Back to the sound of Rock Steady. Wait, Tommy. This is another song done by my father, Alton Ellis. And sometimes we have to cry. We all cry at times. We have to cry. But don't cry like a baby. Don't cry like a baby. Cry tough. This song is called Cry Tough. It tears down the whole of Jamaica. When you cry, the next time you cry, people, please try and cry tough. But if you don't understand, listen to this song. Alton Ellis, Cry Tough. Don't cry like a baby. Don't cry like a baby. Cry tough. You can still cry, but cry tough. Listen.
Cry tough. Don't you know you're getting old? Cry tough. Don't you know you're getting old?
Listen good, listen. How can a man be tougher than the world? Listen. Cry tough. there's many people here today who know certain history and been around for a long time. This is a man called Pinty. Pinty, explain the song, please.
Yes, family, that tune when, back in them days when the rude boy, them, have a man like Zaki Palm, a good gang called the Toughest. You see what I say? And Busby, them man in a Jonestown era, going away. So, all time this, make that tune, because them I see them a gang named the Toughest. And then we see a girl, Toughest, Roughest. So, all time this, I tell the rude boy them to cool down. Because them getting old. You see what I say? Because he was a anti-rude boy. And, Wheelers was making the pro-rude boy. So that tune, yeah man, out of Treasure Isle. Yes, run it again, the top.
Thank you for that, Pinty. This was when the rude boy area was taking hold in Jamaica. The rude boys was mashing up the dance. There was a new trend in Jamaica. The rude boys used to break bottles, smash bottles, mash up Jamaica, and the dance would mash up. So my father, Alton Ellis, said, no more of that. Cry tough, be tough, and stay tough, but don't mash up the dance, don't mash up the music, as Pinty just explained. One more time, cry tough, not like a baby. Here we go, Isabella, Gabriella, I love you, hold tight. We're waiting on some special guests to turn up, they're running late, so people please be patient, we're going to play some tunes for you. Cry tough, I can't let you go. Jamaican sad song. Breaking up is so hard to do. Listen to me while I say. Here we go. Breaking up. Here she comes. Her name is. Listen to her. She says. I have. The year is 1968. This is one of Jamaica's saddest songs. Breaking up is hard to do. Big up coming from Japan. My love is so strong. I believe I will surely die. So listen to me while I say. What do you say, Daddy? Breaking up is hard to do. Recorded in 1968. The year was 1968, recorded. This is one of Alton Ellis' biggest smash. Breaking up is hard to do. Recorded for Duke Green on the Treasure Isle label. Tommy says we're going to stay with Duke Green. Tommy says we're going to stay with Treasure Isle. Tommy says we're going to stay with Alton. What does it take? What does it take for me to get you? What does it take for me to marry you? What does it take for me to love you? What does it take? Listen. What does it take? Listen. What? I've got to know. Diana, they're celebrating 20 years of her death today, and that's my father singing to her, Diana. Alright, 1969 style reggae. Right? Hold tight to Mandingo, hold tight to Old Grace. Take it down. We're running a little bit late, people. Hold on, Tommy. We're running a little bit late, people. We've got some special guests coming. We've invited some big names, some people who has contributed enough to the reggae music, also friends of my father, Mr. Alton Ellis. So please be patient, and we have Tommy on the decks right now. And in case you don't know who he is, once again, let me explain. This is one of the DJs that is a specialist in Jamaica, early sound of Jamaican music. He plays original Jamaican 45s. Tommy, can I have a 45, please? Because some people need to know, they don't know. These records you are hearing are originals. They sell for lots of money. This is a Coxswain, original, 19, you can't keep it. This is original Jamaican Coxswain records you are hearing. He is a specialist, he is a collector. This box is worth thousands of pounds. So there's security here, okay? There's security here. Yes, there is. In case you're a 45 thief, okay? I'm only joking. Now, he's going to play an Alton Ellis that none of you are going to know because he is a collector. I know it. They collect. You know this Alton Ellis? Will you wait till you hear it? This one is called Soul Train. You might not know this, shouldn't know this, because it's a collector's item. It sells for big money. So we're going to play a collector's piece now. Not a regular Alton Ellis like breaking up and stealing love and I'm just a guy, those regular songs, those hits. We're going to play a collector's item, a collector's piece, loads of money, Soul Train. Tommy, you have it. Bust it. 1969. You all know this song. It's a collector's piece. It's called Soul Train. Here we go. It's a rarity. Listen. It's unknown. It's unknown, people. One for the collectors. It's obscure. More time to Mandingo. The Soul Train. Jamaican 45, it's a rarity. Mr. Mandingo, rough respect, sir. Rough respect, sir. We can hear from you later, yes? Alright. Mr. Tommy. Mr. Tommy. The year is 1969, it's a rarity, it's a collector's piece. Many collectors look for this song and can't find it. The last time I looked on the internet, this was valued at £200. Yes, I want to thank you people for coming today, because you know it's going to be 10 years soon since Mr. Alton Ellis passed away, and we have an exhibition inside, some things that people may see, may not have seen before. So we've got to play some more music. I'm going to play one more Alton Ellis, and I think Tommy said he's going to play another rarity, another gem that is unknown and goes for loads of money on Regal Jamaican 45. So if you're a collector, I see a few collectors of 45 here. So if you're a collector, listen to this one. It's called Again. Again. Once Alton, again. 45, again. Jamaican music, again. This one is from Coxswain Studio 1. It's unknown. It's a collector's piece. Goes for loads of money on the internet. Over £200. Listen. it up to what? One of the real jealous people. Hold tight to Owen Gray in the house. One of the giants, one of the pioneers for Jamaican music. You what? That's the man himself, people. Listen, listen. Once again, Asher, you're next. We're running a little bit out of time, people, but just be patient, please. Thank you very much. Hold tight to Georgia Ellis, hold tight to Alton Ellis, hold tight to Courtney Ellis, hold tight to Tracy Ellis, hold tight to Dean Ellis, hold tight to Rebecca Ellis. What? Hold tight to Courtney Ellis, hold tight to Keisha Ellis. Kia Ellis. Yeah. Yeah. I can't say that, but yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's the regional Brixtonite from the 60s. Been on a long time, from the 60s. Yeah, big up. So we're gonna say goodbye to Tommy. All the way from Japan, look at it later on.
Oh, take a look in car, mister. Every look you see, observe.
Yeah. We're gonna say goodbye to Alton for a moment, okay? Pull up! Thank you very much for that selection, Tommy, because we know that you come all the way from Japan, and we thank you very much. Today we have 3 special guests, DJs. They're not normal DJs, they're not everyday DJs. These DJs are specialists. These DJs we have today are connoisseurs of Jamaican music. On the next turntable we have a man called Asher G. People, believe me, it's a rarity, it's a special moment, it's a special time. So, Asher G is going to play a man that I saw in my house when I was about 10 years old. And he used to scare me when I was a little boy. Because he always told me to make sure you read, make sure you know how to spell. He was a good friend of my dad's, very close friend. They sang together for many, many years. He passed away himself last year, I think. The man himself, Sir John Holt. Asher G, here we go. 45 again, people. Listen.
There's a man that lives next door.
Lives where?
In my neighborhood.
Lives where?
In my neighborhood.
1968 John Holt.
He gets me down.
With the Paragons. Here we go. Listen.
He gets in so late at night.
Woo!
Always on my standby. Always on my standby.
We know we've lost many, many, many of the foundation singers from Trenchtown. We've lost John Holt the other day. We lost my father, coming up to 10 years soon. But here we go, one more time. John Holt, the man next door. Listen.
There's a man that lives next door.
He lives where?
In my neighborhood.
He lives where?
In my neighborhood.
And what?
He gets me down. He gets in so late at night.
What?
Always on my standby.
What's that fight?
Always on my standby.
That's not right.
All through the night.
The man next door. The man next door. The sound of Jamaican music. Listen. Asher G.
Some good song, but
Of
the
course.
Jupit start make his own studio
Mm-hmm.
and doing this recording.
Mm-hmm.
I can draw over because Jupit was putting up better sounds than Don Coxon.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty better sound. If you listen to Alton songs them from Duke Reid, then you know the difference between him and Coxsone. And might be some of the musicians might be the same person who was at Coxsone's studio, but Duke Reid have the better song.
How do you think Coxsone responded to that at the time? How do you think he would have taken that?
Well, Coxsone have nothing to respond about away from man singing good tune for him, and there are many songs that Coxsone do that the artist, the same artist that he do, we do move over and go to either Bonnie Lee or Coxsone, but or Duke Reid and sing it same way, you know.
Was that something that most artists used to do? So it wasn't just Alton. Most artists would move from one producer to the other.
Yes, in those days we don't have contract. We don't sign contract with nobody. Everybody sing for food, right? I have a lot of promoters that I sing for in my days. A lot of promoters, different producers there. But when I found Leslie Kong, I stopped there because what? Leslie Kong giving me 20 pounds per tune, while the rest giving me 10. So I stopped at Leslie Kong.
Was Leslie Kong referred to as the Big Three in Bob Marley's song? Is that who the Big Three was? There's the three producers. So you've got Leslie Kong, you've got Duke Reid, and you've got Coxsone.
Yes, you have Prince Buster too.
Yeah.
You have Prince Buster who was doing another good recording too. You have Little Wonder who was doing good recording also. You have a lot of promoters. You have Count Bells, president, was doing recording also. So all of these producers were good. And I wouldn't be the one to say those producers robbed me. No, I'm not saying that, because we were singing for £10 and we get for £10.
What would you say about that? Would you say that you were robbed at all? Or that Alton Ellis possibly was robbed?
A lot of artists who sing for Coxsone say they get robbed. And who sing for Duke say they get robbed. But me sing for both of them, I don't get robbed, because what I charge is what I get.
Would you say that Alton Ellis was robbed by these two?
Altons do the same thing. He sing for all those men, but they don't rob him. They pay him what they used to pay.
That is something I refuse to answer. What?
Is that because you know?
No, I don't know. I know about
I never get robbed.
I know about me, myself, and I.
You ever get robbed, Wayne? You ever get robbed?
Derek, if I got robbed, I don't even know.
That's right.
You understand what I mean?
The only thing where we get robbed with.
Every Thursday or Friday, I go for my little pay packet from Coxsone.
And you get it.
And get it.
That's right.
Him never take out no money and say year before, because you have to go and sign for it. His mom used to sit in the shop, and when you go, she call you one side and give you a little envelope, and you count it, and then you sign for it. But I don't know anything about Mr. Rob. Mr. Rob's still a Rob way.
All right, I'm going to go to Karen Gabby from the BBC, just to Gabby from the BBC, in order for her to answer this question.
Yeah.
So I was one of the producers on Reggae Britannia, and this is how I met Trish and Bigger. And when we did the research into reggae, where the artists have been robbed is today, because no one knew that reggae music, like hip hop, was still going to be around. But the labels today still aren't giving the artists who are selling and making a lot of money for them their dues. If you look, it's summertime, there's adverts on the TV, reggae music, reggae compilations. When you speak to the artists, they don't get the money. And even though, you know, like in the north of England, artists like Owen are well celebrated, and the music is played, but in terms of the music that's copyrighted and what should be due to them, that they're not necessarily getting that. So that seems to be the issue. Yeah, go on.
You see, in time that's gone by, when myself, Derek, and other artists was recording, we didn't know that those records was coming to this country, because the producers, because that same man there, Chris Blackwell, was bringing the record them in this country here, releasing them. Derek tune, my tune, Alton tune, that man tune, we were tune, and we never knew that that was happening until when we get the message. I never knew that my song was coming here till when I came to this country in 1962. You understand? So things been going on long time, and it's still going on. You understand? And it's time for all these producers get themselves together and dig into them pocket, because you know what to fill them pocket, it's too deep. I said, watch it. You're going to figure collect. You see a man stand up. Yes, boss, become this man, if you got the little money, you know. You know, well, things bad, but make me silly, you know. And you see him do so. And you just him and him pocket it, I'm going to halfway. But him a go down like a baby, and him can't reach the bottom for come up with no. You understand what I mean? So we all get robbed in a way. But nobody never stand up and say, yes, I rob Owen Gray and Derek Morgan. But we know so them sink off. Ain't it, Derek?
The only thing I would say we get robbed with is really the publishing that we didn't know about. We didn't know about publishing.
Jamaica never have no publishing.
We didn't know about royalties.
No royalty
We didn't know anything about that.
You go and you do your little change, and you get your little change. But when I know about the robbing business.
I start recording 59, and when I know about publishing 69 when I make Mona. You see the difference? So many years I get robbed that way by not knowing about royalty nor publishing.
So let's go back to the studio. At the time you guys were making these songs, tell us about the vibe. What was it like when you went to the studio? What was your first time like when you went to the studio?
Studio vibes was A1, best. Because better than now, because you can come back to the studio now and put on a voice or take it out. In those days, we have to have the band and the artist and the mic. We didn't use earphone.
No.
We just sing.
String.
One lick or two drop. The band just record. The band just start rehearsing you.
Right.
And they rehearse and say, all right, we get that?
Ready?
Yes. Red light. Red light means we're ready to start.
I'm going to tell you, it's no coming back.
And if you miss, they have to start all over again.
And what would happen if, when you started all over again, how would the producer react?
The producer stay in them corner. He don't know what going on. And we in the studio with the musician, producer around the other side with the engineer.
Yeah.
Right? So when we go and say it, when we rehearse a song with the musician there, the musician never heard our song before until we come in the studio. And when we go in the studio, we sing to him. And we have a guy named Jack Jerry. He used to strum his guitar meanwhile we sing, before snapping to pick it up. Then afterwards, snapping pick up. And from there, the drummer don't come in yet, nor the bass, them just listening. And when them done the tune, done rehearsal and catch the cards, them said, okay, let's try one. And we one rehearsal, and then red light, and ready. And we just have to go down. Don't miss. If you miss, you have to start over again. So what he do, I was called one drop Derek Morgan. Because me never miss one day yet. Always one lick. No play over.
What was Alton Ellis like in the studio those days?
Well,
what was he like?
Alton come in a different era from us, you know, because Alton do mostly rock steady.
Yeah.
And then Alton could go back the next day and put on his voice on the rhythm. But we couldn't do that. Everything go down straight in our starting.
I'm going to ask Bigger Morrison, who played keyboard and piano for Alton Ellis and was a great friend to him. What was he like? Was he very meticulous when it came to his music? Did he like to get things right first time, or was he quite easy on the band? What was he like?
Well, Alton was very good.
I'm going to ask
Well, Alton was a consummate performer, and Alton was a person that, well, he knew music, he understood music, he knew what was right, he knew what wasn't right. So we surround ourselves with capable musicians, competent musicians, so that, you know, we don't have to do too much talking. We say Ray Ray, and then we rehearse and everything. And Alton was meticulous, really. He, as I said, he understood music and he loved music. So he was the kind of person that he was innovative as well, because, you know, as time went on, didn't matter what age he got to, he would still try to spice up the stage show, listen to what was going on currently, and sometimes would introduce it into the show. You know, I remember one time he went to Jamaica, came back, and then, "Whoa, the reggae music on ya," and then just bring it into the show. And because of the vibe of the music, he incorporated that into his set. That was one example. He, as I said, he was a consummate performer, and he was meticulous, and he knew right from wrong. So we didn't really, none of us as musicians really go out there to do wrong. We go out there to play, we practice, we try to deliver, because as the song says, one good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. And music is great, you know, so that was it. With Alton, that was him.
I'm going to
Yes,
ask.
that is true.
I'm going to ask Trish, which was his UK or European agent at the time, and you used to go on tour with him. Tell us about the experience that you had with him when he was on tour. What was he like?
Hello, everybody. It was a very easy artist to work with, as well as Owen and Derek, of course. But it was very fussy about the show itself, but everything else he took in his stride. And, you know, the traveling, he would sleep on the plane, he wasn't fussy about food. Often enough, we'd have his daughter, Keisha, with us, and Christopher, and his wife, Judy. And so we were all away, like a family in a way, after 20 odd years. So it wasn't really work, it was work, but at the same time, the joy that I had every night when the show was on, even, you know, no money could have compensated, you know, what even if I didn't get paid as such, the immense joy that this man would bring to the audience and to all the people around him was enough, you know. So it was a privilege, it was a honor, and he taught me everything about the business, because he was the first artist I worked with, so I owe him an awful lot. And he was a very, very down-to-earth man. He wasn't a star. He was a big star, but he didn't feel like he was a star. He never understood the magic that he actually created on that stage. So that's what I can tell you about him.
Yeah.
Trish, thanks for that. Going back onto what you said about his personality, and you said that, you know, he was quite with his family and you enjoyed the time that you were with him. I'm going to take you guys back to the time that there was that era of, you know, ska, rock steady. There was a lot of artists singing in Rude Boy songs at the time, and Alton Ellis has been credited for singing about love, a lot of love songs. And a lot of songs talking about non-violence. Now, I'm going to ask the two of you here whether or not you felt that possibly was because he wanted to do something different, or do you think that was just his style? He just loved singing about love songs.
What I know with Alton, right? He used to sing for my brother-in-law, Bonnie Lee, too. And I used to be in the studio with him that time. And, you know, after he done recorded with Bonnie and thing, and Bonnie and him would have like a talk, and what he would do, like Bonnie would say, well then, Alton, you're going to get this and you're going to do that, you know. By the time Bonnie ready to do that, Alton already got a place where Bonnie wants to go and get through, and Bonnie don't know. So when Bonnie go and find out, saying that Bonnie give him a new name, they call him Too Smart. That's what Bonnie Lee used to call him, Too Smart. So anywhere him say Alton, he would say, we're going too smart. Alton would laugh. But after a while, he and Bonnie Lee fall out now. If you ever call him too smart, him leave you down. Don't call him so again. That was Alton. But when you're in a studio with Alton now, if the band not play, if the rhythm not sound the right way when he wants, nobody give it to him. Because he's a man who could write rhythm. If you give him, you just carry a rhythm to Alton and you would just fit songs to it and I'm going clear. In song.
In terms of him, we've had a lot of stories of him guiding artists, especially in the UK. What was he like in terms of working with other artists and also guiding them, even younger artists than himself?
Yeah, well, he worked with every artist I think can work and was working good with artists because every artist look up to Alton and they love him and they like his songs or the type of songs he sing. They love him, but the man have a unique voice where no, I know every artist have that. I wish I could have sing like Alton. You know, it's a different type of voice. You know, the style we have, champion. So everybody look up to him. Young and old.
When his songs were playing in the dance hall at that time in Jamaica, how did the crowd used to react to his music?
Oh God, the whole crowd dance man when put on an Alton. Even now in Jamaica, and you have some program on the radio right now. It's pure Alton they play. Because they call him Prince of Soul, something like no. Mr. Rock said the Godfather of Soul. Yeah. They play him hard. Everybody love him. So when I'm in the dance hall, you know, every whole foot start playing. You know? It's good.
Alton is he was a great company of a musician and a songster to be amongst. You get laugh till your belly hurt you. Have you ever overate yourself yet? And you get pain, you get more pain than that. Right? He used to call me Grayson, Mr. Grayson. That's what he always called me. What Grayson? We went to it. Where was it that, Trish? Was it Los Angeles we went? When we in the hotel room that we done that song, Los Angeles.
Yeah, I was on that show too, yeah.
Yes, yeah. And we were in the hotel room, me, Al Capone, Alton. And we just talking, and then we just start make up a song. It's about the whole scenario, about the show and things like that. But to be honest, grateful, my heart and soul goes out to Alton because, as Derek said, he has taught a lot of singers how to sing, how to project themselves, how to approach a mic. Because when you're going to sing low, you got to go in and tone your voice down. And when you're going to take a high note, shift to the high note. So you don't get it. Yes. But he was a great master.
I want to ask Bigger Morrison about his connections to the UK because he had a lot of connections in the UK, also singing with a lot of artists in the UK. Tell us about that.
Alton was based here. He came here in the 60s and he was based here probably from the late 70s. And Alton, as I say, music was Alton's first middle and last name, really. And for example, I remember he wanted someone to sing, was it Minnie Riperton's Loving You, I think. And he asked, there was a singer called Junior Brown, and he asked Junior Brown. Junior Brown found a lady to come and sing that song, and that lady was Janet Kay. So that was Janet Kay's first song. It was Alton Ellis that produced her first song. and there was a resurgence of that song again. It became a hit again in Japan. So that was just one example of him starting off someone in the business. And she's, well, they classify her as one of the queens of Lovers Rock here in the UK. So that's a prolific accolade, basically. He really started off, which was, because it's all good and well, it's all good and well you being a singer and that, but if you love the music and you can hear, because it takes a different ear as a producer. You say you can imagine that person singing this song, because some singers don't really share that gift, but not everyone has it. But Alton had it, produced other artists, so that was that. Also, Alton, I remember him telling me once, because he wasn't just, it's not just love he sang about roots and culture and things. And I remember one time we were practicing a song called, is it Black Man's, When the Black Man's Word, what I want to name again, Mandingo, Black Man's Pride. Yeah, I remember we were rehearsing the song and he said, one day he was, I think it was in Ocharias, in a hotel, singing that song, and he said the audience were there because it says, when the black man's word was spoken, and the white folks thought it was a token. We had beaten all our whole lives through, doing things that we're not supposed to do. We were beaten till our backs were black and blue. Oh, I was born a winner. But that song there shows you the cultural aspect of Alton, the roots of it. And he said when he sang that song, he saw some white folks in the audience just got up and walked out, because it was talking about roots and culture. You understand me? It was actually speaking about the truth, because we in Jamaica, we were brought there. We weren't actually, so it's not just love. Alton was roots as well as love. All the way around.
Yeah, man. Well, Alton leave a lot with me, because his voice alone, it lingers within me. But all time, anytime I hear Alton song them, I have to stop and listen. I'm knowing that I am a singer myself. I just love to hear Alton voice, So he leave that legacy in me. And he's from a family of music. All of Alton family is in the music business. Brothers and who don't sing turn comedian. They are very good. His sister was a #1 singer in Jamaica called Alton Ellis. No other girl singer sing like that, and that was the only girl singer in Jamaica ever thrill me. When I say thrill me, I sit in the audience and listen to her, and she's singing a song from Connie Francis named Where the Boys Are. And anytime she sing that, pure cold bump and goosebump come up on me. You understand? So he's from a talented family, and it lingers with me at all times. Go to rest, Alton. Sleep well.
Right on. Right on. Last but not least for me, I'm telling you, there was a great female singer in this country. Great. A voice of that calibre. I am telling you, I have listened to female artists all over the world that I have traveled. But for England, that girl, that lady, you all, she sings Caught You in a Lie, 66th Street, and many, many more. And that was the lady, Louisa Park. Give her a big round of applause.
And just the final one, which is from Bigger Morrison.
What was the question again?
What special part of Alton Ellis did he leave with you?
Well, I think he's left it with all of us. The music, you know, as Derek says, when you hear the music and it just rings out, and when I hear him, I like sometimes, me as a musician that's played with Alton in studio as well as on stage, I had the honor and privilege of doing his last show, because I used to rehearse the band and Christopher would sing, and I did his last show. I didn't realize it would have been, but it turned out to be his last show, also Gregory's one as well. And it just makes you know that, you know, he wows audiences. Sometimes when you hear some songs, because Alton has a medley that we do, and it starts with ba-da, 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 ba, then it goes into things like breaking up, and then it goes ba-da, 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 and every time you hear like for example, breaking up, fine up, when you hear that, when the audience hears that, you just hear like a wow. You know, the audience, because the audience knows the songs, they know the records, they know the music. So when they hear all the intros of the songs, it's like awe, wonder. It just fills up the people. Same with Derek as well as, and Owen as well, you know. These artists, these are prolific artists. We're blessed to have these people still with us. When their songs play, when we played it live, the people, the audience, there's nothing greater. So the legacy Alton has left is music, and it gives me pleasure to know that me and him, we would talk, phone each other, speak on the phone, half hour, 40 minutes, you know, before his sickness and throughout his sickness. And as I said, we had mutual respect, because at one of the stages, I met Alton through King Sounds, and I think it was Alton that put the name King to Sounds' name, because he used to introduce Alton on stage. We used to rehearse in a house in my area called Braventon Road. Alton used to live in that house, and Judy, before Keisha Barn and these things. We used to play there, we used to rehearse with Aswad there as well. Janet Kay would sing in that house, we would rehearse. So it's more than just, it's all music, but it's more than music. I don't know if that makes sense. It's more than music, but you know, music is, and Alton, forever. When I hear an Alton song, sometimes I hear it and I say, yeah, I remember when we play that song and how it is with the public, and the greatest, one of the greatest, you know, love it, love him.
Thank you so much. Now I'm going to give the audience a chance to ask any questions, and I'll put the mic out there. Has anyone got any questions for our panelists at all? If you do, please raise your hand. Mandingo. Thank you, Mandingo.
Well, I'm not asking any question. I'm just gonna say that this is Alton Ellis's day. Not even the King of Rocksteady, the Emperor. And one of the greatest musical legends also. And special request to another legend in our music, the man Derek Morgan, who personally, yes, Derek Morgan from Moko, Clarendon, Jamaica. And Moko is a good word, it's an African name. See? Because I remember Derek Morgan in 1965, when him, Roy Shirley and Keith Slim Smith, it was a 3-day and night dance at Friendship Government School, Spanish Town, that Bonnie Lee, his brother-in-law, and my father, Teacher Williams, the headmaster of Friendship Government School, kept Easter 1965. So I'm born and growing at this with sound system thing. And also another living legend, the great Owen Gray, who began his career singing wise, 57. Sing for Smith, who saw the lightning, self-composed. See? And Alton started, as I said yesterday, as a dancer, A1 dancer, and got his sister Hortense to sing before him. But he did his first record in 1956 at Federal Studio. The band Cluji and the Blues Bastards, Easy Snapping, Theophilus Beckford was on that session. Rolando Alfonso, the genius guitarist Ernest Ranglin. That session had 3 great songs. The Mellow Larks, We're Gonna Pray, Alton and Eddie, Muriel, original Jamaican song, and also Snapping's Easy Snapping, Theophilus Begford. 3 great sessions come out of that. And you see the money thing, you notice these 2 living legends here. Say nobody never robbed them because what they agreed on, they got the arrangement. Because a lot of people like tell lies. Panzer, Coxo, Downbeat, and Duke Reed. Them man they no notorious. Them are legends and them famous godfathers for our music industry. Duke Reed and Sir Clement Dodd. Leslie Kong was able to pay £20 because he come from a rich Chinese family. Downbeat and Duke Reed never have gold spoon in their mouth. They never own no real estate agency like the Kong brothers and thing and have no shop. Downbeat used to do farm work at the US and send over money to his mother, Miss B, who me not hear about, who me know. And she invests her son money and her son the thing, son the thing. And before royalties came into the picture, as these 2 legends will truthfully tell you to, the arrangement was musicians would get certain amount of money aside, as they would have called it, meaning a tune, and the artists would get certain amount of money, the bill and the thing. Later on, royalties came into play. You hear when say, whenever you get money from Downbeat, you sign for what you're getting. When royalties came in, Downbeat gave the artist this. You want royalties or you want to sell your song outright? It's your decision. See, I'm glad to know say Alton Ellis family continuing the tradition. The ones them who don't sing like Keisha and thing, doing what she doing here, and give her a round of applause. Keisha. Yes, don't shy. Ellis your name. Yes. Every time. Georgia.
Hold on. And
Yes.
we're going to ask
Yes.
for all of the children.
All of the children.
Of Alton.
Come on, because Alton, see, straight up thing. Christopher is here. Dean is here. See, I think try at the One Love Festival. I mean, love a work and thing. But for all of them who are here, yeah.
Right.
Altia is here and thing, you know? Yes.
Thank you.
For real.
Where's Christopher?
Christopher. Come in, Christopher. Alton's daughters, you know? See how them pretty? Just like them mothers. Yes. Because you know Alton is a man of fine taste, just like Owen Gray and Derek Morgan. Because them sharp, you know. Pure pretty woman them deal with. So, yeah. So Dean, for real, Christopher, I remember the last show Alton put on, and I was the MC for that at Hammersmith Palais. You know, proud of you keep it going, for real, every time. Yes.
Yes, Mandingo, thank you very much. Yeah, you heard Alf earlier on. My name is Dean Ellis. My father came here in 1967 on a tour with Ken Booth, and then I was born 68. He met my mother here in 67. Boom, I was born 68. So I'm the first youth he had abroad, the first child he had abroad out of Jamaica. And there's many of us there. We're not all here today. We're not all here today. So, but I just want to say thank you to my sisters. They really all organized this event for my father, for our father, sorry. So Keisha and Alice want to say thank you very much. It was a good effort, and thank you. This is Georgia Ellis, Trenchtown, Jamaican. Her mother is my father's first wife. Her mother is the person where my father sang songs like Breaking Up. She was the cause of it. Her mother was the cause of the hits that my father made. When his heart was hurting, her mother and my father he went in the studio when his heart was breaking. So, do you want to say something, Georgia, please? Because come in, Trenchtown. Just talk quickly.
You have to tell everybody.
This is the Trenchtownian man. All right, I won't say no more. So I'm gonna pass you on to the star boy now. We all know Christopher Ellis, right? I'm gonna talk. This is Christopher Ellis. Let me tell you about Christopher Ellis first. He's my younger brother. Me and him have the same mum. And when he was 3 years old, I used to DJ badang, badang, badigadang dang. And one day he used to follow me, copy me. So I called him Baby Irie. But when he was 5 years old, he said, "I'm just a guy." And I thought, what? Sing again. And the boy could sing. I said, "Daddy, Christopher can sing, you know." But Daddy was too busy doing his thing. So I was the one who took him into the studio when he was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. My mother used to say, "Dean, bring him back home, him have school figure. I said, now he's in the studio. Now, he is born. He's his own man, Christopher Ellis. Come talk to them.
Bless. Yeah, thanks for coming here today. I mean, it's about my dad, you know. Everything that I do is about my father straight, you understand? Alton Ellis, all the way for me, personally. So, you know, thanks for being here. And I don't know, how do I elaborate on what Dean said? I mean, yeah, it's true still. I was young singing and Dean said, "Yo, can sing over here," and put me in the studio. And my mom used to always call me and say, bring him on for reals, you know, when I was 10, 11, 12. But, you know, I look up to my dad so much, and I think it's nice that my sisters had the idea to do this, you know, something different from like just a stage show. I don't really. No, I prefer it if we play some of my father's songs, you know. Seriously.
Sing this song you sang. I'm still waiting.
No, you guys know about me and singing already. My sister for sing, cause she don't sing like that. So you can come sing something for them, sis. Come, please, cause they don't know about you. Yeah? So come sing. Any song you want. It don't have to be an Alton song. Any song you want.
When you turn and you walk through the door. Oh boy. Why am I forgotten that now? I will tell him. It hurts me so when you look at me and you say goodbye. You've made me cry. Now listen to me while I say to you, breaking up is hard to do. Everybody knows it's hard to do.
Alright, give peace out then.
Yes, Georgia. Give a round of applause to Georgia Ellis. Just like our auntie Alton Ellis. Jamaica's first lady of song, Alton Ellis. Don't forget it.
Alright, same song. Father would say, I'll never let you go now, for my love is so strong. He said my love is so strong, it's strong, yes it's strong, so we're living on. I said my love is so strong, believe it. So listen to me while I say to you, breaking up is hard to do. Breaking up, I'm still in love. He said I'm still in love. I'm still in love with you. Oh. Girl, I've got a date. We're done.
Christopher Ellis, listen to me.
Christopher Ellis.
Listen to me.
And I'm just gonna beg all of us here to do this one thing for Alton Ellis. From henceforth, every year we must have this for Alton Ellis. Every year we must have a celebration for Mr. Alton Ellis every 1st and 2nd of September. And big up to Mrs. Judy Ellis also, every time. Blessed love. We love Alton, the greatest.
Can we say also too, Alton having vision, because as Dean said, he recorded Christopher. But I remember when Alton brought Christopher to Hammersmith Palais, Alton used to keep a show, Rocksteady Gala. And I remember him bringing this little boy in a suit on stage. And that was the man that has turned out to be Christopher Ellis. You know, his father saw the vision as well, because it's in the family. And as a little boy, he wowed the audience, and he's still wowing the audiences. And on Alton's last show, I remember at the Jazz Cafe, when he came down and took the mic from his dad, and he said, "Oh, I just feel like that's passing the baton on to me." And it really was the fact, because that was Alton's last show. And he's gone from strength to strength, but he's got the foundation, you know. So what I'm saying, if you have a child that's got the talent, whatever the talent is, invest it in them, because you never know what the future could bring, you know. So wonderful round of applause for Alton and the family, please. And I'm gonna hand you back to this young lady here. That's you.